She was already late, playing Russian roulette with a poisonous snake. I said, rib G's and a crooked smile, make the sun come out when she opened the bag. Yeah, I tried to run away.
And we have Chris Marceau in the house, the No Filter Show, episode number 79. Again, Chris, thank you so much for being the very first interviewed person on the No Filter Show. You said history, my brother.
C.Keys in the building. What's up, baby? How you feeling?
I'm blessed, brother. Can't complain at all. I'm just glad to have you on the show. And what's awesome about it is that when I first moved from Oakland, California to the Fremont Union City area, you were the first person to feature me on your single.
Yo, man, I'm honored to be on the show, bro. Thanks for thinking of me.
Well, we gonna go ahead and dive on into this, my brother. And we just want to start by finding out a little bit about Chris Marceau. You know, tell us a little bit about yourself, your passions, your aspirations. What got you involved in the music to start with?
Wow, what got me into the music? Whew. I must have been 6 years old. We were at a family reunion. Michael Jackson was playing. And I was nervous, man, because I knew I wanted to get on the dance floor and do my thing, you know? But I was just nervous. So I was just kind of waiting for my moment. And the music hit me just right. And I jumped in the middle of the dance floor and I started doing the, the kick in the air and the one glove, kind of shaking my hand and, the whole Michael thing. And, everybody was like, look at this little dude, you know what I mean? Next thing I know, there's like a whole kind of crowd around me. And I'm just, I'm a little ham, I just like the attention, right? So, like fast forward a couple months, I'm Michael Jackson obsessed now, you know what I mean? So now I'm buying his records. I got a little pretend microphone karaoke little setup. And I'm just, I'm singing all the Mike songs, I'm dancing. And I don't know what it is, man. It's just, it was meant to be, bro. It was just, that was my little introduction into performing and the music, and it was just something magical about that microphone, man. Something magical about that mic. I can't even tell you. But that's what kind of kicked it off for me. And yeah, that was the start of everything for me.
And the beautiful thing that I love about the way you express that, I could hear the passion, I can hear the nostalgia, I can hear thinking back to that moment. And the beautiful part about it is never once did you mention my goal was to be rich, my goal was to be famous, my goal was to be Billboard, which is awesome. But I think it starts with the passion first and then it transitions, which leads me to a very interesting question. Now, like you said, you were performing for family. How did that transition into the energy of wanting to enter the entertainment industry or to take it beyond just the passion of having that gift or skill?
To be honest with you, see, it wasn't even me, bro. It wasn't even me. Somebody approached me. When I was 12 years old, back to the family again, I was at a family reunion, another one, different side of the family. And me and my cousin were performing. We got this instrumental. I forget what the instrumental was, but we got this instrumental, and he was like an MC. I was like a vocalist. So we were gonna, perform for for our aunties and our cousins and stuff. And it just randomly, some dude just happened to just be there. He's a friend of the family. He saw me and my cousin kind of dancing, doing our thing, performing. And I guess he was working with some like local talent and stuff. I think he had connects with like some of the like Bay Area legends like E40 and whatnot, you know what I mean? So he was like, yeah, I own this label. I got these connects. I want to produce your record. I want to sign you. And that was the first time that it ever even occurred to me that, I could do more than just, perform for my family. So that was kind of how it all started. And then, like after that, it was just a long list of cats just like that. Just cats just seeing me perform, hearing my music and wanting to work with me, wanting to manage me, wanting to sign me. And so it just kind of, took off.
Which is awesome to me. I mean, I honestly, I didn't want to put this out there, but I want the people to know that, man, Chris, we go way back. And you were the first artist that I seen with like what I call a major budget, like a major video shoot a major promotion. And I mean, we were like seniors in high school, I want to say. I'm like, this dude is famous. I mean, it was like an all-around challenge, because at school I would see you in forensics, and you were doing your thing with the forensics. You were taking on any image or character that was given, as far as if you were speaking a speech or something of that sort. You always had this air of being reserved, and it's amazing. It's kind of like you're an introvert extrovert, if that makes sense. It's like you sit back and you observe, but then when it's your turn, you show out. Tell me a little bit about that, and how that kind of translated or transitioned into the entertainment side of your passion or gift.
Well, for those who don't know what forensics is, that's kind of like, part of it is like speech and debate, and part of it is like acting. It's like a event that I would do in high school, where we would go to all the little high schools in the country and compete. We would take a speech, or we would take a play and perform it, and then they would rank us, and you know, then you had semifinals, you had finals, you know, all that stuff. So that's what I used to do in high school, acting competitions and whatnot, and of course music. But yeah, you know, honestly, I thought growing up my whole life, I thought it was just me. I thought it was weird that I was a kind of an introvert, extrovert, as you say. You know what I mean? Like, I just figured if you were performing, you must be an extrovert. And then the more that I kind of like learned about my idols, right? Artists that I look up to, actors that I look up to, the more that I realized that I'm actually more, I'm not going to say I'm the norm, but I'm just going to say there's plenty of people who are introverted, but still have a need to express, still have a need to connect, you know, with the audience, with the listener, and who go into a zone when they perform. And when I'm acting or performing on stage, I'm locked into something that is ancient, primal, you know, something that's something in my DNA before I even knew who I was, something in my blood, you know what I mean? I'm locked into that, and I'm tuned into that like magic, like it's like blood magic or something. And when I'm locked in, everything disappears, everything. And I don't care about judgment, and I don't care about doing it right or failing, or I don't care. You know, I just, at that moment, I'm the most me that I'll ever be. And that's real.
And that's a beautiful way of putting it, man, because I remember jam sessions. We got Gion, he doing his thing on the keys. And I mean, it's a whole session. I'm talking like, I used to sit back and watch y'all like, wow. So post-graduation, you know, we all became adults, went through our tree branches of life and adulthood and pursuing our dreams, our goals, our careers. And there was a period of time where we were out of touch for a minute. I happened to be flipping through the channels, and I stopped on this particular movie that, by the way, is one of my wife's favorite movies. And the movie featured some pretty big names. Let's go ahead and talk about that. Give us the name of the movie and how it felt to work with, you know, people of that caliber, brother.
I'm in love with the church girl. The guy who wrote it was one of the biggest drug pushers in NorCal. I forget like the exact time frame. Anyway, he got locked up and he did a bid or whatnot. The movie's about how, well, what he said, it's about how love kind of saved his life, and not just like love with him meeting his wife, but also how he found God. So how those two things kind of intersect and saved his life from what he was doing. That's what the movie was about, based on a true story. So yeah, I mean, how I got the role is not, you know, it's nothing special. I walked in, I did an audition just like everybody else, really, to be honest with you. I mean, and when I did the audition, the writer who the story's about, he pulled me to the side after I did my audition, and he said, "I know you." And I was like, where do you know me from? He's like, you sing, don't you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I know who you are. And he was like, he said, dude, you murdered that audition. The role is yours if you want it. It was that, I mean, it was really that simple. I mean, I got the role like basically as soon as I did the audition. And then, yeah, it was a fun experience though. It was cool, like, you know, obviously meeting different artists and actors that I'd grown up with and getting to know other people too. We were pretty tight on set, you know, we were really, we had a real cool kind of brotherhood with the five guys that were kind of the crew in the movie. And we shot over like 2 weeks. And it, you know, it was kind of a trip because after I got the role, like months went by and I heard nothing. And then the shoot date came and went, and then another date came and went. And I was, you know, for a minute, I was wondering if it was going to actually even happen. But, you know, yeah, man, you know, getting to meet Jerry Rice and, you know, obviously Ja Rule and, you know what I mean? Just getting to know everybody and just vibing, and just the energy on the set was beautiful. Egos were put aside. Everybody was had kind of like a teamwork kind of you know, approach to everything. And then when the cameras weren't rolling, then we just have fun. Like I had to work at that time, so after we would wrap like around midnight or 1 a.m., they would all go either back to Ja's trailer or back to a hotel room or do a after party. I had to go to fucking work, man. I missed out on that one, but whatever.
Now, you know, I understand that the way you're telling the story, and this is what I mean by introvert, because I've been starstruck before working with artists, platinum artists, being in the presence of artists, opening up for artists, having conversations with artists and being shocked that they even know who I was as a person. Are there any stories that you may have in meeting someone, whether it's a director, producer, whether it's music or it's actual video media? Share with us. You know, I think that's a pretty awesome experience, and it kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of get a charge in your battery pack when somebody you look up to and pay homage to recognize your skill, and then they actually take the time out to let you know how awesome you are.
I mean, I remember walking around in LA before my show at the Roxy, just wandering around. I don't know what the fuck we were doing. We were just probably killing time, you know, before sound check or something. And it was me. Damn, I can't remember. It was like me, like one other person, and my manager, and we were just walking and shit. And then my manager was like, "Yo, there's Slash." I was like, "That's not Slash. I don't see no top hat. I don't see no boa constrictor. That ain't, you tripping." And then the guy comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, bro, you look really familiar. I know you. I've heard about you or seen you. You look hella familiar." Anyway, we started chopping it up and talking about, he's like, "Yeah, are you playing tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm playing over at the Roxy." And he was like, "Yo, that's where we got our start with Guns N' Roses." And, you know, he was just going on and on about just how they were playing the circuit in LA and getting their start and just playing all the dives, you know, and all that stuff in the area. You know, we had like a you know, solid like 10-minute convo and whatnot. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, like I'm gonna come to your show, you know, I'm gonna come check you out." And then obviously by the time he left, like I knew it was Slash, like I could tell, but you know, he looked like a normal human being. He wasn't all rock starred out, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was a fun story because you know, it's just like at the end of the day, we were just two musicians who can relate to what it's like doing the grind, can relate to what it's like to come up and have to earn your stripes and have to gig and play shows and put in the work. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it was just two human beings who love music, who had to go through the process and go through the grind of working hard and, you know, just climbing up the ladder. So that was pretty dope. There's a story for you.
Man, that's awesome. Now that's awesome. And especially the "Don't I Know You."
Yeah, I get that a lot, bro. I really do. I get that a lot. I don't know, like, if they really do know me, if they think they know me, if I look like their cousin. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I do get that a lot. But that always reminds me, though, whether they know me, really they know me or they don't, it always reminds me that you really don't know who your music is impacting. You never know. And even in the Bay Area, people come up to me all the time and say what's up, and a lot of times I don't know who they are, but maybe they came to a show, maybe they heard my music through a friend, maybe they follow me on social media but never said hi. I don't know, but it's really it's a good reminder of like how far your reach, your impact, your message, how far it reaches.
Yes, sir. I tell you, it's an amazing thing. People run into you, and sometimes I think it's not necessarily your physical person that they're familiar with, but it's the spirit in which you possess that they're familiar with. Sometimes you can let off an energy that's similar to a Michael Jackson or a Prince or a Slash for that matter, and people will be like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And it's not necessarily the physical aspect, but the spirit and the energy is so positive, and it's something they'll never forget. But what happens is when you walk away from that "did I know you" situation, from that point on, that person will never forget you, because there's something significant about that interaction that will never leave, which, it takes me to the next question. And I ask artists this because, to me, I feel like the industry has been so saturated and watered down that people would support more something subpar than they would supporting something that's solid. And I think it's because, personally, relatability. Like, I could do what he's doing, so I'll support that. But if someone's able to supersede what you're able to do, it either goes over your head, or the envy, or the, want to not see you succeed is there. So my question to you is, what are some frustrating things about the entertainment industry when looking at it from a distance you wish were a little different? I would be interested in knowing that.
Yo, this whole industry is frustrating, period. Anything in entertainment is going to be frustrating. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be countless number of opportunities that, was so close you could taste it and then just snatched out, snatched from your teeth. It's just the nature of the game, man. It's just the nature of the game. So yeah, no doubt, lots of frustrating moments, lots of frustration. Probably used to it by now. Like, I get irritated, like if I'm up for a role or something and it's between me and like one other person and it's like a dope role and I don't get it. Yeah, that's gonna sting. It always does. It ain't never not gonna sting. Man, honestly, the thing that well, first of all, like, it's always been this way. Always been this way. The music industry has always been this way, where it's like people feel like, damn, how did they get put on? Damn, how come this artist didn't get discovered? Or how come this artist didn't get bigger? How come this artist only got one hit? How did that artist have a career? Like, it's always gonna be like that, and it's always been that way. Again, just charge it to the game, right?
Right.
But the thing that really frustrates me is when people in my circle hear a trend, hear a fad, hear something and try to get me to follow it and act as if they know something I don't. Because I think the frustrating thing about it, it's not that they're wrong. They're not wrong. I mean, if something's hot and I jump on it, maybe something will pop. But that's not the point of me. That's not why I do this. I'm actually literally not doing this to make hit records. I'm not doing this to sound like what's hot. In fact, I'm actively trying to do the opposite. I'm not trying to put out shit. I'm not purposely trying to go left just because music industry is going right. That's not the point.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is find my sound.
There it is.
And it's a moving target, bro. It's a moving target. So maybe I found it for a minute with rocket science, but then then it's a moving target. It's gonna move, and I gotta move, right? But the point is every great artist, and I don't care if you're talking about music, dance, acting, sculpting, painting, I don't care what you're talking about, MCing, every great artist has their mark. They have their style, their vibe, their take, their way of saying something, their point of view. Right? And in that way, they're not redundant. They're necessary. You feel me? They're necessary because only C.Keys can say what it is that you have to say in the way that you need to say it. There's no one on the planet that can say what you have to say in the exact way that you can say it. Because if there was, we wouldn't need you. So when people try to tell me like, bro, you're doing it all wrong because this is what's happening right now and this is what's hot. And if you would just do this and do that and then you would sound like that and then you could get put on, it's like, it's frustrating because it's like, oh, you don't really know me at all. You don't really like I thought you understood what I was, who I was as an artist, and it's like obviously you don't. C.Keys though, at the same time though, you gotta also remember that they're not artists, right? And you also gotta remember that just because people are putting out records, that does not make them artists, right? So everybody's not going to be able to relate to that. To a lot of people, it's like you're wasting your time. Why are you doing that? So, one half of me is frustrated because it's like, oh, you don't get me. And then the other half of me is like, you're not an artist. So how would you really understand why I'm doing what I'm coming from? Yeah, how would you, So I have to remind myself like not to be too like harsh on people who have that point of view because it's like, you're not an artist.
And I agree with you. And for me, it's more so what you explained is authenticity, passion, and knowing what you want out of life. I think that a lot of art now is the opposite of how it should be. In the past, artists would create something and then people would give their perception on how to depict it. Whereas now you have artists out there that are actually painting exactly what the fans want them to paint. So to me, I compare the two to a Michelangelo versus the guy at the pier in San Francisco that'll paint a picture of something that you want, a cartoon character. And they have talent. They have talent. Like right there on the spot, within 5 to 10 minutes, they'll do an animated character of you that looks freaking amazing. But I'm the one asking you to paint that. So that's gloating and self-gratification versus taking a Michelangelo painting and somebody may think it's an ink blot, another person may see a butterfly, but that's the uniqueness of, I think, the difference between the music then and now. Even before the times of hip hop, when you had your classic rock and roll and your old school R&B, I didn't know what Teddy Pendergrass was talking about when he said close the door until I got older. You know what I'm saying? Turn the lights down low for what? I ain't sleepy. That's where my irritation and I think frustration is recognize the authenticity of the art, like an artist such as yourself. And I wanted to get into that as well, which transitions to a great, next segment of question is your catalog is amazing, man. When I was actually putting together the No Filter show, any No Filter show I do research. I take a look at different things. I listen to different music. I look at the videos that are being made to kind of give me a better understanding of the artist that I'm paying homage to. So, I just wanted you to kind of touch on, projects you've done, what type of mind state. Are you driven to put out music based on what you're seeing in life? Or is it more of a personal experience? Or is it more so an improvisational freestyle? And in regards to where you are emotionally or mentally when making that project?
Those are really good questions. Those are really, really good questions. The answer is all three. Honestly, it's all three. Because I would say my most natural state is to write from personal experience. But I like to be uncomfortable, so I like to throw myself into ways of doing things that I'm not comfortable with or used to. So like one of my favorite ways of writing is based on soundtracks to movies. So like I'll hear a soundtrack to a movie, like a score, I mean like movie scores. I'll hear that and it'll create an image in my mind based on the sound. And then based on that image, I'll write. Sometimes I start with lyrics first. Sometimes I start with music first. Sometimes I write about what friends are going through. What I used to do when I was little was, I can't draw for shit. I really can't. But what I would do is, when I was bored in class, I would just close my eyes, take a pencil, and just scribble some random shit on the page. And then I would try to make something out of it, out of the squiggles, just to see if I could. And that's what I do with music.
I thought the same exact thing about your singing when in regards to my rapping, because prior to meeting you, I was never around an R&B artist in the studio. But sometimes you used to freestyle, rap freestyle. Oh, I remember all of that. So I think energy, positive energy plays off of each other, and you inspire one another to be better.
I used to freestyle like a lot with the singing thing. I mean, I suck now, like I can't really do it, but I remember though, like listening to you freestyling, just being like blown away, bro. Just fucking blown away, and just like inspired. Like I'm gonna learn how to do what he do, but do it as a singer. As far as last words, I'm just gonna kind of piggyback and ride on the vibe we've been on right now, which is if you're a recording artist and you realize that maybe you're not the most talented person on the planet, but you got really dope business sense, and you take your business mind and you create a vehicle for success with your music. Yes. Respect. And also, if you're an artist and you got no kind of business sense, and you got passion, and you got drive, I'm gonna say, yeah, learn the business. Definitely learn the business.
It's great to actually share these views with the world, and I would love for you, if, before we end, any last words, places they could find your music, where they could check you out. If you could please let them know. We'll be sure to tag all your information in the No Filter Show so they can reach out to you. Where
can you find my music? So if you go online and you type in anything Chris Marceau, you will find me, because as far as I know, I'm the only one. At Chris_Marceau. You find me on IG. Visit my website, chrismarceaucreates.com. And my music is on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, etc.
Most definitely. And that's Chris Marceau, Marsol. Check out his music. As we always do with the No Filter Show, the lyrics are by C.Keys. The vocals, courtesy of Chris Marceau. Production, courtesy of Chris Marceau. And this is the No Filter Show, episode number 79. Peace and blessings.
No Filter Show, episode number 79. Paying homage to a true friend of mine, Chris Marceau. Truly you're a groupie and you're in it for the clout. In my life you're in and out, I gave the benefit of doubt. You were screaming, I would shout, just to get our point across. On the journey we were lost, I'm getting off and I'm on out. Everything you do, you know who you try to justify. Tell me it's the truth, the hide the reason, just another lie. Talk about the sand, you got a boulder in your eye. Love is not an option when you wouldn't even try.
I guess you think that you're so right. You're acting like you are alive. You're certain it is worth the fight. You're so self-righteous. What if you happen to be wrong? Maybe I'll smile, then I'll be gone. I'm hoping we can get along. You're so self-righteous.
Play round 5. What a come go round. I ain't tired of all the games. I ain't tired of all the pain.
self-righteous.